doll.
Hey, Rosebud. Back at it.
Absolutely.
And to the wonderful Do We Have To crew, thank you for joining our wonderful podcast known as Do We Have To, a marriage podcast. I am your host, Sean.
I'm Emily.
Our executive producer is Colin Schmedia Maskell. It's a not actual family production studio. And today we're going to jump right back into it, specifically talking about, the state of children. Last week we went over kind of the mental health state of children in 2025 using statistics from CDC. We're going to be doing the same thing today from the CDC and the National Institute of Health in regards to our children's physical health and the nutrition and how that can play a role in child development and mental health. Looking at the science behind how it all works and making sure that that's understood, because that's important to understand, and just how much focus we should be placing on each one is obviously really important.
Yeah. I didn't realize how close everything kind of tied together.
Well, I feel like they all just it's a web, right? Sorry about my mic. It's
Good.
Colin, why did we get these cheap mics? Jeez, I'm going to call him. That was Colin on that one. Sorry about that, audience.
Pretty sure that was us.
No, it was. I probably didn't screw that in. I was going to say they probably didn't screw that in very well. But I do think it is one of those things that web all together. So like if one web gets broken, it affects the entire structure, right? So whether it be sleep, it'd be nutrition, or it'd be physical activity, those things all really coincide. And if they're not operating harmoniously together and at an optimal level, it's going to affect your child. And then it's going to lead into things like we talked about last week with mental health.
Right.
I think, all these things, unfortunately, they overlap with each other and they have cause and effect.
Right.
So, but yeah, we're going to be jumping in that today. And then we're also going to be doing another Let's Get Deep card, which by the way, Emily made sure she completely destroyed my world. Actually about 20 minutes before we got on here, and let me know that Let's Get Deep actually isn't the official game that Love is Blind uses.
No.
They use the same type of game, and I must have just misseen, or maybe back in the day in the earlier seasons, maybe they were using it, but they are using a different type of game, but it's the same exact game. So basically it's the official game of Love is Blind.
Basically, but not.
So we're going to continue to use it because now it is the official Let's Get Deep game, or Do We Have To, a marriage podcast, because we don't have any more funds to buy board games. We're kaput.
Well, I just don't want to buy another board game like this.
Yeah.
It's not even a board game. It's a card game.
Right. No, absolutely right. But before we get into Let's Get Deep and then, talking about the physical state of children in 2025, because we brought up Love is Blind. Oh, I'm sorry. I got to talk about it.
Okay.
Emily and I just got through, I don't know what episode we're on in season 7.
I don't know.
Alex, which is one of the women on the show, her fiance's Tim. So they're one of the ones that made it out of the pods. They had an episode where they're having a barbecue and she's having her parents over for the first time. And like, she's going to be basically telling her parents that they're together, they're living together for the first time. And that eventually that they want to pursue a marriage together. Her parents haven't heard this from my understanding in the episode. Mm-mm. And her father has a disability, and actually it's not just a disability, it is a fatal illness that he has MS. So, and that seems to be very progressed when they film this. And so he needs help getting around, and his speech is affected by it. And oh my God, they have a scene where they're talking, the girls leave. So Alex and her family leave, and it's just Tim and the dad.
Yeah. And
Tim wrote a letter, and it was one hell of a letter. He
basically just asked for her hand in marriage.
Yeah, but in such a great way.
Oh yeah, it was nice. It was.
I was like choked up. I
don't know why.
Because that dad, first off, is taking this information. All this is happening in a meeting. So I want you to think about this. Maeve or Tegan, we go to their apartment they're at for, I don't know, a barbecue, and we're going to meet her boyfriend. All of a sudden, that turns into a request for a marriage proposal. Mm-hmm. So you just got to think through all the things. And then on top of it, you're dealing with an illness, that is going to eventually likely take your life. You only have so much time in this world.
I mean, I understand why it's sad and why it's so nice that it was done.
I just thought it was amazingly done. And the way the dad responded, where he was just like, it's my baby girl. And he's having trouble speaking, but I was dying.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tim. Tim, that was an amazing letter. I don't know if you and Alex make it. So I really hope
don't
that
know.
you do, though, now that I've watched that, because I think you are a great young man. And I can say young man because that's how old I am now. I can call people on reality TV young men and young women, which is so fucked. But okay, so because we talked about Love and Blind, let's just get right into it. We want to do a Let's Get Deep card. So the wonderful Do We Have to crew, or anybody that's listening for the first time, Emily and I use this game which you just found out has nothing to do with Love is Blind, even though
Sure
it does. There's 3 types of cards. There's Icebreaker, Deep, and Deeper. And Emily and I are currently on our third round.
There's a 4th category that we've not gone into.
What is it?
It's action or activity or something.
Oh.
We've not even opened the cards yet.
Okay, well, maybe that's
but
something we
those
could
aren't
do for
something,
the audience.
I don't think so. Because
Like we could have a straight up makeout session on YouTube.
Absolutely.
Which, by the way, audience, you can find us on YouTube at, this is where actually the main show is recorded. This is where our main channel is. You can get all of our shorts at youtube.com at Do We Have To, a marriage podcast.
Yeah,
So,
we're not doing the
you never know.
activity card.
Let's not stop.
No,
Yeah.
no, that's not happening.
What was that show? What was that show that we watched that was so fucked about the YouTube influencer kids, and basically the mom was using all these
Netflix?
kids to push basically child pornography, like softcore child pornography, and that's like all their millions of subscribers. Majority of them were like old men, and she knew that that's where they were getting all the activity from. So then she started taking things and making it like overtly sexual with their clothing and things, and these kids were like young kids.
Yeah.
So obviously that's what YouTube wants. So I feel like maybe we should just start fooling around with it.
No.
People don't want to hear about like trying to be a better person or those sort of shit. I mean, you wouldn't believe the comments we get sometimes. Like, oh, very profound. Z. Like, okay, Mark Thompson. keep living your life, buddy. But you know what I mean? It just seems like that's where what people want, I guess, when they're going on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's a documentary on Netflix. Shout out Netflix.
To our Do We Have To crew, though, we do appreciate your feedback. We do appreciate you interacting with us and the show.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I appreciate your actual, what do we call that? A critique that is actually useful. So when you watch a
Positive?
20-second, no, it doesn't have to be positive critique. I've been told I interrupt you all the time. That is very helpful. You can hate the show all you want, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you comment on one of our shorts with some dumbass thing because you got a picture of a van as your profile, I'm going to fucking, I'm not going to be happy about it. I'll probably just delete it. But you say something nasty enough, you never know. You might be able to get me to respond to you. So
yeah, we're not going to
keep it
do
up,
that.
keyboard warriors.
We're not going to do that. Okay, on to the deep card.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, we want to get to know each other better, and Emily and I are still continuing to do that. So we want to make sure the audience gets to know us. Emily and I get to know each other better, and we're going to start with our third round of our deep card, which is...
If you decided to start your own business tomorrow, what would it be? We both have talked about this before.
Well, would it be as individuals or as a couple?
I guess let's do the couple because we are a couple.
Coffee shop, right?
Yeah.
Coffee shop. But what I would like to do, so could I say put my individual spin on it?
Yeah.
Part of the coffee shop, I would like to have some sort of pop culture 90s, 2000s element to it where somebody can come in and they could rent a movie, like a Blu-ray or a DVD or even a VHS. Maybe even have like a small, like classic movies, like your top like 20 movies of all time on VHS, comic books. And I think that'd be about it.
Yeah.
Like something on the side that you can sell or you can read while you're there, that sort of stuff. So it kind of still invokes the coffee shop with like reading and relaxing, but at the same time, there's a pop culture like of that time period element to it. And I want a Backstreet Boys poster in there somewhere. Go ahead, your turn.
I would just do a coffee shop.
That's it. Like what would be the theme?
It would be dark and cozy and
okay. So like an emo coffee shop. So like what the emo guy that we love, what's his
like
name that sells coffee?
Dark green walls with like gold
the Broken
accents.
Hero. Right, it's a Broken Hero is his name, right? He does the cruise and he got Chris Carrabba to be on his shorts. He has a wife that's famous. She was a host for a TV show.
Emo's Not Dead or whatever.
Emo's Not Dead, yeah. So it'd be like a Emo's Not Dead meets like Starbucks.
Kind of, but not. Like it would be very like...
Oh, you said cozy, so it wouldn't be, no offense to Starbucks, but that's not like I'm going to go sit in front of a fire.
But yeah, like I want big chairs.
You know what?
No, like just little tables, but like big oversized chairs with lots of pillows and blankets and
like the place in Wisconsin I FaceTimed you and showed you when I was on the road for work, remember? There was a house that they made into a coffee shop, and you can go to all different parts of the house and sit and read.
You know what it would be? Very similar to like
What's
the
that?
basement of the Renegade.
Oh, sure. Well, and that's a lot like what I was talking about. So that actually makes sense. Yeah. So emo meets Renegade coffee, and then I just get to throw in a pop culture element in there, which would still be like Renegade coffee because they sell books and stuff in there. It's just it would be more 90s, 2000s vibe.
Yeah, and gluten-free food. I want gluten-free food.
It means you have to make it, or I guess we could order it or bring it in from somewhere and then just reheat it, which is kind of junk.
I want a gluten-free croissant, and I want a gluten-free Pop-Tart. Like, I don't know why. These are so difficult.
You would have to find somebody that's a professional baker to do it. And we could, but then we would be out of funds again. We can't even afford equipment that has all the screws in tight. How are we going to afford a chef that's going to cook up the gluten-free stuff? I don't think that's going to work. You're just going to have to get glutened or just stop eating, one or the other.
I vote for stop eating.
Very good. Well, hey, speaking of eating, we're going to be diving into this. And I know this is something that, from a, parenting perspective, or just anybody who is around young kids or has a relationship with a young child, like, I think this is probably one of the worst times in the world of really navigating the waters of what it means to get healthy, meaning that pretty much a majority of the environment that a child walks in every day is toxic, from whether it's the water they're drinking from the fountain all the way to the dinner that they're eating that's probably 90% processed at night, right? I mean, and we struggle with that with our kids.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it's not just the food, it's the exercise, and eventually we get into, I don't think we're talking about it today, right? But we're eventually getting into sleep.
Yeah, no, that's coming up.
Yeah. So like those are all big things we have struggled with. I feel like that's all big things. Every bit of research I've ever done, that's a huge struggle for any parent at any age level.
Yeah, it's very cyclical.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big cycle.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we're in a world of definite like diet culture and influencers. Well,
yeah, they make it a business.
Workout videos and like every time you get on Instagram, that's what you're seeing. Like, there's the people on YouTube that like have the eat challenge, like where they're overeating.
There's people that like show off that they're horrifically morbidly obese and they eat 10 things wrong. I can't remember the kid's name because he used to be a vegan kid and then he found that he wasn't getting as much views. And so it's all fucking clickbait stuff. You know what I mean? Like, hey, we're just going to rifle this down. There's not good information out there. And then when you do see things that are supposedly supposed to be healthy, the way our FDA works right now, which that may be changing with the current administrations in there, we'll see. I doubt it. But the way the FDA works, it's more of a business. You can pay them extra money to get things through. You can label things in certain ways. The way versus Europe, the way that like labels and things like that work, they can pretty much just tell you whatever the fuck it is that they want, and they can get away with it. And it doesn't have to necessarily actually be healthy at the end of the day, which is fucked.
And like all of your celebrities are...
Yeah, they're getting paid by somebody. On
like... all sorts of weight loss drugs. And like, I am not judging. Weight loss drugs are amazing tools. But people are not understanding it. And it's like, they're looking at it as like a quick fix. And like people look at us and our surgery that we had, like when we had gastric bypass, they think that's a quick fix. And honestly, it is so not.
I mean, I still have 15, 20 pounds left to go to get off, and we're on year 3. So it's not
I have about 10 or 15 left too. But like, it's just, there is never a quick fix to getting healthy, and BMI rates and charts and stuff. They're so like hit or miss, on a BMI chart, I'm still considered obese.
Well, I'm technically too, but at the same time, we're probably the healthiest we've ever been, but we are, according to that. But that's again, and we can talk about food pyramid and those things, but I don't want to get like on a rabbit hole outside of this. I guess the best place to start is like, everybody associates health with obesity. It's probably the best indicator as far as physically how healthy you are, right? Mm-hmm. And so we did do some research through National Health Institute as well as the CDC, mainly the CDC, who provided statistics and reporting on kind of what the state is of children's health.
Yeah.
And a big part of that was statistics on obesity. So are you good with starting there?
Yeah.
And then
basically they just said that the current childhood obesity rate today is 19.7% for children aged 2 to 19.
So a fifth of kids basically is overweight.
And it's rising.
Obese, not just overweight, obese.
And it doesn't include these are only the kids that have been medically diagnosed by a pediatrician.
Meaning, they've got a diagnosis.
And based on BMI indicators and by the nutritionist or the doctor. Like, this is only the case that it's been medically diagnosed. Because the rates for childhood obesity are a lot higher than that. It's just not a medical diagnosis.
And that's just a general number for anybody. Like, if you were interested in like race, ethnicity, or those sorts of things, they have those numbers out there, guys. But
oh my gosh, there were so many.
We're, as you know, Do We Have To is an inclusion podcast, except for pedophiles. So we bring everybody to the table. So when we talk about numbers, it does not matter if you're black, white, whatever. I don't know why I only said two colors there. Every color.
They have all of them broken down. Like, if you go if you go to their website, you can see it like based on your race and ethnicity and even your socioeconomic like standpoint, like where you're at in your demographic area too. So like, that's, I thought was interesting, but those numbers are there's just so many. Right. So we know there's a huge rabbit hole. Yeah.
There's absolutely. Obviously a real big problem here.
Yeah. And
I think to your point, and again, guys, CDC is very easy to access. I don't know how easy it was to kind of get through the website. I don't know how much you've been on it, because I know a lot of the stuff I grabbed
quite a bit.
It's not it's not a terrible website to navigate, but it also, you have to dig a little bit too. So that's why we're glad that we were able to grab these numbers and kind of present. Number one, if you do have a child that's obese, or if you have a child that you feel like is not in good physical health, you are not anywhere near alone. The majority of people, especially people that have multiple kids, you're likely going to, even if you have one, you're likely going to run into some sort of physical issue as well. Right. Mm-hmm. Because not only is it, 19.7% are obese, and that's ones that are diagnosed. So there's obviously more. Mm-hmm. And then the ones that were kind of like how they did the study, it was only 20% of kids were actually getting the required amount of physical activity based on the Western diet that we have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which again, so, if we're going to be mindful about these things, number one, obviously, and we talked about this yesterday in regards to, or not yesterday, but last week in regards to mental health, but, it's really getting proactive with their care. And I guess especially for the younger, all kids up till 18, it's getting them into a pediatrician early, and then working with that pediatrician that you trust to make sure you are doing that.
Yeah, because they only looked at children ages 6 through 17 for that recommended daily activity. And they recommend 60 minutes a day, but at the very least, 3 days a week. And so they took, if you were at least doing the 3 days a week, they took it as you met that recommendation, which, 20% at 3 days a week, that's not a lot. And you would think the kids would get that based on like recess and PE and all of that, but like they want like
actual consistent activity, like you're doing a physical activity for a period of time, like an adult would work out. Yes. Mm-hmm. Not you're going and playing parachute. Yeah. Yeah. So it is one of those things that, here's where we'll relate this back to us guys, is that we have 3 kids that are completely different human beings, yet, Maeve's 5. So we really haven't, but I can see based on her eating habits, if we don't get more proactive with those, she's going to be where her brother and sister have struggled. Because even Seamus, who does a lot of physical activity, he's very hands-on. He works out. He actually works out now 5 days a week. But I'm telling you something where it's like, that didn't just happen. No. Okay. He wanted to start playing tackle football. We were trying to figure out where he would do that. We found, a local organization, and we found out he was like 15 pounds overweight to do the position he wanted to do, which he wanted to be a fullback. Mm-hmm. Well, him and I spent the entire summer, and we had to cut out sugar, like things you would do as an adult. But what I did find is you can do that. Yeah. The caveat to that is,
we did it in a very healthy way, though. We weren't like restricting
cutting out.
Him
here's the thing:
food.
When people hear cut out, that's not a bad thing. No. We cut out the bullshit. Yeah. He wasn't eating candy, sugary cereals. He was eating bread, but it was low carb bread. They have keto bread, and it tastes fine. Like, we just did this, but I also ate that way. You know what I mean? And you girls, of course, you have your dietary restrictions, so you can't do this. But like we were hammering out, protein, but we were also trying to keep up veggies, like trying to do what we could. But I was also modeling that at the same time. But I wasn't doing that initially. And what we were finding was he was super inconsistent, which was getting borderline frustrating because I want this, but I'm not willing to put the work into it. And I get it. You're 9, 10 years old. I totally understand. But it wasn't until I started doing it. Hey, I'm going to get up with you. We're going to eat the same way. We're going to work out the same way. You know, obviously he's not going to be as intense with it, but get through those things. And then sure enough, now what does he do? He comes home. That is the one thing he's been consistent with. We can get him doing his room, cleaning his room as much as he lifts and does the bike and then occasionally runs. Yeah. We do it. So it is possible, I guess is what I'm saying, based off our experience when we were in a shit position with him being overweight. And then, you know, we can talk about Tegan here in a minute, but like, however, you know, as far as some of the things you've worked on with her dietary restrictions, but it wasn't a good spot.
No. And like, you know, it is just about, we are on the go all the time. Yeah. And so is every other, that's the thing. Every other parent is too. And like our food is fast.
Yep.
But
I don't know what this is, but
I don't know. But it's like, you can still be intentional with it. Like,
yeah, if you're again, it's just
you have
trying to be mindful and proactive. Yeah. But even then you can't have that, right? So
no, but like we went to a gas station and he was walking around looking for something and he's like, well, I really want this, but I know that I would be hungry in 2 hours and I can't have,
because we tell him that all the time.
I can't
sugar,
have
to be hungry again in 5 minutes.
This. So he picked up like some little, like almost like a charcuterie board kind of thing, like with meats and cheese and like some like bagel toast thingies. Yeah. And it was just like the fact that he did that, because I was like, just get whatever you want, like it's fine. But he made that decision, and
it took 10,000 conversations though about it.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean? Yeah.
Because when our kids were littler, I mean, I'm sure they remember it. I'm sure, but we were really big. God, I saw a picture of me walking through fucking Hobby Lobby with the kids the other day. I didn't think it was me. Like it was like you got photoshopped where like there was a whole extra head underneath my chin. And like, I did not realize it was me. I really didn't. I thought it was somebody else. And I was like, who is that? And I thought my Uncle Bobby for a second. I was like, Bobby never came here and met the kids or whatever. He died, you know? And it was me.
Yeah, he died when we were dating.
I know, which was wild. But like, you remember he was a huge guy. And like, that's what I looked like. You know what I mean? So our kids have seen it. They've seen our eating habits. And that's what they were doing. And so I'm not mad at them. You know, I think that was, at first I was frustrated. I'm like, when we're trying to tell you not to eat, why are you eating poorly? But it's because we were doing the same shit.
Right.
It's modeling is the biggest thing.
Yeah. And because we've been where we've been, I think we have more of an idea of what to do, but not everybody does.
Well, no, it's not even that. And I know there's going to be somebody that comments like, oh, well, modeling something for somebody, that's a great idea. If it's such an easy fucking thing to do, then why are we in the situation we're in? Yeah. So what I can tell you is that the modeling, it's really about the consistency. It's not about just modeling the behavior or showing them. It is about consistency. So unless you really plan on eating, say you want to have your kids avoid sugar, what we do, I guess let's start there, right? We do 5 days a week. We try not to really ingest processed sugar. I know it happens with some of the food we get, but it's really on the lower side.
Yeah, but it's like Saturday, we put more of an emphasis on like no desserts, no candies,
right,
no
exactly.
Like.
Not that it always works, but Saturday we allow them to like, we'll go out and get them a drink, or they'll be able to eat something they want to eat, and then they always can have dessert in the evening. Yeah. So it's not like it used to be like where I felt like it turned into a pig out day, like a cheat day, but like now it's just, no, you can just eat pretty much what you want to eat. Just do your 3, your meals and just have a normal day.
It's not an all day
moderation,
binge.
But just don't restrict yourself. I guess it's just be moderate about your things. Like that's where those other conversations open up about, hey, when you get older, you may drink beer. Like just don't fucking drink 12 beers a night. You know what I mean? Have a couple every once in a while. Relax. When you socialize, be responsible about it. It's all about moderation. And it is about consistency, though, in parents when it comes to modeling. I'm just telling you that as somebody who's failed in modeling, thinking that telling them and, kind of doing it a little bit, that did not work. It wasn't until I was doing it every single day. And that's what Seamus and I do. We go out to the garage, we lift, we do the Peloton bike, shout out Peloton. And then usually I go for a run, he'll follow me on the bike, or we go for a nice like 1.5 mile run that he does. So
yeah,
it is very possible, I guess is what I'm saying. It doesn't matter men, women, because we've gotten Tegan working out and those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
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 And I think some of the stuff that I've learned with Tegan, going through some of the stuff that we've done because of our like dietary issues, she was so sick for so long, and like it took us a long time to realize that it was the food that we were eating. Like she has allergies to things, so she's gluten-free and dairy-free, and that's really hard and really boring. And so we've seen nutritionists and we've seen behavior therapists for like eating disorders and stuff like that. Not necessarily for eating disorder, but it's how to have these conversations to where she doesn't feel like she needs to have shame in it, and, you know, the food anxieties about things, and you know, how to have a positive relationship with food.
That's the other thing too. That's a really good point. It is about the relationship with these external factors that can really fuck you up.
Food noise. Like food noise is huge.
How many commercials I know we're one of the only countries in the world that advertise medicine nonstop, which makes people think you have medicine. It's just no wonder, like people, we have issues with finances. We have issues with mental health. We have issues with food because it's constantly blasted at us, because this is I don't want to get into a political debate, but it is essentially a corporate oligarchy. I mean, that's really what controls what happens and how things are done. That is. And then you have a political system that supports that right now.
Yeah.
And that's Democrat and Republican. So I don't want to fucking hear anything from the left or the right on that. You both motherfuckers vote for the same people. So do I. So I'm just saying, I don't want to hear about that. But that's the point, is it is driven to create unhealthy people. You know why? Because as soon as you're unhealthy, guess what? Now you're on medicine for life, right? I mean, that is how it works. They want you to be sick. They want you to not feel well. And this is where we can start to reverse that trend by taking into account some of these things, right? So here's the thing. So we were talking about the state of mental health last week. If you aren't able to get in to see a psychiatrist or a children's therapist right away, like we had to wait 9 months, this is the best fucking place to start, is the physical side of things, right?
Yeah.
Because everything, and I know you took some notes on this, but everything is related back. You can, with the food you eat, if you're doing better with that, and the exercise, if you're hitting that regularly, all of those things. And I think people naturally know that.
Which we'll talk about sleep coming up.
Also, but when you're working out, it releases the endorphins and all those sorts of things. And all of a sudden you're handling anxieties better, maybe behavioral issues are better. And that's a start before you then get into treating.
Yeah, because it releases hormones that your body is lacking. And for like the nutrition part of it, if you learn about your food and where it comes from, and you're more conscious of it and more aware of it, then you're more likely to make better choices. But one of the best things that I've started to do is, like with the research, but we were given a list of things to read or do, like activities with therapy for all of our kids. And one of them was a book called Fat Talk by Virginia Soul Smith. And it has been a really good book. I haven't finished it yet, but it is so far a really, really good book. It's basically like how to have these conversations with your kids without adding to the anxiety and the shame and the noise that they already have, and meeting them where they're at. And then how to navigate away from like the toxic side of diet culture. We will always be in diet culture.
Well, me and you will, because that was good God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, and our kids will too, just because they're going to be exposed to just nonstop, here's a quick fix remedy to really not solving the problem at all. Just here's a solution for the symptoms, right?
Right. But it needs to change the definition of diet. Like this is our diet, not where we need to go on a diet or you know what I mean? Like it's a diet is what you intake. Yeah. And so if we could just change our outlook and our behavior and our like thought process of it, but have those relationships where we don't lead our kids down the path of like an eating disorder, or binge eating, or not eating, like bulimia, just, it's just, I don't know. So far, it's been a really great tool, and how to open up those conversations for your kids. And just one of the best things that it recommended was, we're all busy. It doesn't matter where the food comes from, but if you can get together at least one meal a week, just start with one and either cook it together or just have it, like just sit at the same place and then just talk to each other. That can help so much because you're not focusing on what's on your plate. You're focusing on the conversation. Yeah. And so you want to be mindful when you're eating, but you have to listen to like body cues more than plate cues. Yeah. So, and like we used to be really good about all sitting down for dinner at
we
the
just don't do it
same time. We just don't do it. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. And the big thing that's profound is like, I feel like after we say all this stuff and we've kind of word vomited the statistics and we've talked about all these things, it's like, oh my God, that's overwhelming. But if you focus, at least get a good turnabout on one of these items, meaning like your kids getting out there and exercising more, their chances for like an eating disorder or something like that, it goes down quite a bit.
It does.
Even if you only fix one thing, say the eating hasn't gotten better, but you're getting out and getting exercise more. So like, don't overwhelm yourself by trying to tackle all these at once, right? You're trying to live life. Maybe just start with one, or I mean, you could, but I'm just saying you can start with one and you're going to have profound positive impact on your kids. Yeah. That the numbers show it.
Yeah. Yeah. Like nothing
should be. It's like a 25% less chance.
There should be no bad foods. Like you should take away that label. They just need to know where there's in it. Like
I disagree. They need to know that it's not a bad food. It's a food that's made with things that aren't food. They need to know that a Debbie snack cake has dyes in it and chemicals. You can still eat it. I eat it. Like if it's a Saturday for me, and if I ever had a dessert, there's every once in a while I'll eat a Debbie snack cake Swiss cake roll. But there's a bunch of shit in it. Like Pop-Tarts have a little bit of antifreeze in it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and again, you have to be a chemist to understand that there's things that are so close to things that are horrible or could kill us that aren't. Right. And you can ingest them. So like when you have all these influencers, like they're shaming you while they're at a fucking Target showing you all this stuff and like how terrible it is for you.
But then they're plugging their own product.
And they're not chemists. They don't fucking know. Unless you're a chemist, because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about chemicals in the food. Yeah. There are safe ingestible chemicals. But again, if you don't want something that's not food in you, most processed foods have some sort of chemical in them or some sort of preservative. Like those are things that are not
feasible to have a whole food diet. Like,
oh, it is. You could just eat vegetables and fruit, but I've never seen.
It's not affordable.
Well, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I've never seen a family that's been able to do it. No. And also you have to get protein in. You have to do those things. I mean, you could do it. It's just, we don't live in a society though, where you're penalized for trying to eat like that because it's fucking expensive. Go to Whole Foods, go to, anything that's supposed to be healthy is expensive. And now with these tariffs, it's going to get even more, especially fruits and vegetables. Like,
we noticed when we went and did our grocery shopping that like our fruit that we normally get every week went up quite a bit. And I was just like, wait, what? Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that, really at the end of the day, it is truly modeling the behavior consistently. And then it is making sure the kids are informed in a way that you're not giving them the impression that they're not allowed to have it or it's taboo. You just give them the details. Like, this is what it does to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that'd be my advice. That's where we started seeing success. I know it's nothing like groundbreaking, but it obviously is something that we all as parents consistently are doing. Otherwise the statistics would say another thing. And so, and we've found progress in that and definitely like, let us know. Go to dowehavето.com to tell us your stories of, weight struggles, of, getting the kids physically active. I know nowadays I'll sign Seamus up for a sport, and when I was a kid, when you did sports, you did it 5 days a week. If you did soccer, during soccer season, you were practicing Monday through Friday. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I think it's absolute bullshit that there's like, you do a soccer season, you practice 7 times for 7 games. One day a week practices, like, and I know that's not all saying. You could join club and there's probably more intensive programs, but like I'm talking about just the average kid who wants recreational exercise. The recreational programs in this country have gone to absolute shit. And that if you want to fix something that'll help kids instead of fucking bantering back and forth with international diplomacy and all a bunch of bullshit that's going on right now, fix a fucking
parks and recs systems in this fucking country and help us get our kids healthier. Give us more opportunity to where they can go and play pickup games and in a healthy, safe environment with adults that aren't fucking pedophiles or sex offenders. Give us those opportunities too. So it's not just the parents. It's this fucking country.
And like really focus on the physical education class, like at school, like, you know, fund that.
Absolutely.
Get them
PE
the equipment that they need.
PE's gone downhill too. We used to learn about sports. We'd take quizzes on sports and then play them. Now it's like, my kids might as well be in kidding. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's nothing bad, but it's like physical education's just not given the support that it's needed. So our PE teachers don't have the support that's needed, and there needs to be more of them. There needs to be more than just one managing K through 8, you know what I mean? Or whatever it is. There needs to be more. There needs to be more equipment. And it's always a backseat priority, yet it affects everything. Because if they're not getting enough physical activity, as you guys know, and we've said the numbers, their mental health's off. Because their physical health's off, then probably their sleep's off. Clearly their nutrition will be off.
And then yes, part of it, like the nutrition, good nutrition going in, positive outcomes come out. Bad nutrition goes in, bad comes out. Like it
not
is
always,
not
again,
always, but it
moderation.
is like it is very much cause and effect.
What you're consistent with is what you're going to be. And that's the thing. It's like, so then instead of dealing with your child's physical health or their mental health, what you're dealing with is problems that aren't really the actual problem. You're dealing with symptoms of the true problem, and all your energy and time and money is going to be tied up into that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's the best advice we can give you, is just be proactive as possible. Emily and I were not. And, you know, we've had to play a lot of catch up in that regard, and which is why we want to help any parent that even sees that coming down the road. Let us, you know, we're going to continue to research all of this stuff and give you guys as much information we can, and just give you our life experiences, because, you know, we're able to do it. We're able to get our kids home, clean your room, gym, homework, and then bedtime routine, which we're shit at bedtime routine. So we're not perfect parents.
But that's coming up with the sleep stuff.
We're going to work on that. See, these things are going to help us work on this too. It's really reinforced a lot of things that we're doing, but a lot of things we're not doing well as well. And we'll continue to report on that.
Yes.
So, but we'll continue to have information out there. Again, go to dowehavto.com. That's our website. Of course, everything runs through our YouTube channel at youtube.com @dowehavetoamarriage podcast. Em, do you want to give us the rest of the socials?
Yeah, you can.
One day we'll have a smooth social.
You can find us on the Peloton app. So if you want to get a jump start, you can follow Sean at Do We Have To Pod KC, or you can follow me at Emily_in_KC. We have a team at hashtag Do We Have To Crew. The team is just Do We Have To Crew. There's a hashtag you can assign to your name. You don't even have to be a part of the team. There's a Do We Have To Crew hashtag. So feel free to use that when you're working out or doing your live events. And then also, if you want to join the team, follow one of us, and we'll add you right to the team. It's been growing by a few every week, which has been fantastic. We're growing strong. Yeah. You can find us on Instagram, Threads, and Facebook at do.we.have.to. On X, we have at Do We Have To Pod, and TikTok is at Do We Have To A Marriage Pod. Again, you can submit some comments, questions. We'd love to get some feedback on your take on this topic. As we're talking about challenges all this and successes. We would love some more information and feedback on it. You can also submit your Sour Patch Kid moments with hashtag Sour Patch Kid moments on socials, or submit it through the questions and comments on our website or socials or whatever. You guys have a question, you have a success. We want to help you celebrate that. We want to make you feel valid in your questions or your concerns or your issues that have come up. We're here to do that for you. And we have a community of people, I think, that really believe in that. And so that's where we all need to come together, because we're all not going to be better unless we're coming together and we're supporting each other, rather than watching a bunch of bullshit that just makes us feel bad about ourselves. Not saying you have to watch our shit, but just try to stay away from the bullshit that makes you feel like you're a bad person or imperfect parent or those sorts of things, because there's no such thing. We all are imperfect parents. Yeah. So, and also I did want to give a quick shout out, because by the time this comes out, I guarantee you Krabby Cakes in the UK is going to win this month's challenge, because we're at the end of April. So, congratulations Krabby Cakes in the UK for winning this April challenge. We'll get a May challenge out there, and we'll announce it on the next week of the show. Yeah. Okay. And to everybody out there, again, guys, just keep up the good fight. That's what it is. At the end of the day, just keep fighting. Just don't submit. Just keep fighting. Try to be as good a person as you can. Don't be an asshole.
I love you, Rosebud. Any advice? Yeah, I always give the advice at the end. What advice do you have? Let's lay some advice down. Come on, just give him something. Anything.
Learn something. I
Learn
don't know.
something.
That's what I tell the kids every day. Learn something.
Yeah, get a educational
Have
win.
fun. Be kind. Learn something.
There it is. See, much better than don't be an asshole, but also don't be an asshole. I love you, Rosebud.
I love you too.
Wake up, I'm about to shake up every little thing, show you all that we can be. Come dance in my club.